How fired up were you after Saturday, seeing your team come back from 3 goals down after the second period? Because it seemed like your players were pretty energized after that, and they were talking about what they could take from it and kind of develop moving forward.
Yeah, it certainly made the bus ride more relaxing and more comfortable than. I think I was excited for the players, and so we had talked about some things in between the second and third period, to give us an opportunity. And I felt that if we got the next goal, that would be starting the process of maybe, getting another goal. And so I thought, the penalty we took early in the third, and then Ava made a couple saves. They missed an opportunity. Again, there's still hope. There's only 14 or so minutes to go in the game, but we were able to get a power play right after that kill and capitalized on a break. We got a bounce on that play, and then shortly after that, the next shift, it's 4-3. So now the excitement really is generated on our bench, and at 4-1, it doesn't look like there's a lot of hope, but at 4-3, it's like, okay, we still have a bunch of hockey to play. So I was excited for the players because going into the third period down 4-1. They still came out and gave themselves a chance. And then obviously we saw what happened. And I think anytime you're able to come back from a 4-1 deficit with 14 minutes to go in the game, it says something about your players. More importantly, the belief in the locker room, even when things didn't look well, was still around. And so you can take a lot of good things away from that game and move forward.
And as far as the comeback goes, were there things, was it a matter of just getting better bounces? Were there some things, what were maybe some of the things the players were doing better that really, allowed that to happen?
Well, I think, if you've been involved in games where you're on the other side of it, you get a sense of how that feels. And so I think by, when we made it 4-2 on the power play, it pauses what they're trying to do. And you put them a little bit on their heels. And then, right away, the next shift, we make it 4-3. Again, you're putting them a little deeper on their heels. And so the game seems a little bit easier for the team that's making the comeback from that standpoint because the momentum has shifted. And so now the game for us is downhill, and the game for them becomes uphill. It just becomes harder because you're a little bit, concerned that this game might get away from us. And so, you go 3 or 4 more minutes, and now it's all of a sudden it's 4-4. And then it settled for a while, and it was like, okay, who's going to make a mistake? We had a power play shortly after we made it 4-4, and we had probably 4 or 5 great looks. And I don't know how we didn't score on one of those opportunities, but that's the game, and their goaltenders are good, and she was playing well. But then it was like, okay, who's going to blink? And we sort of blinked a little bit where we gave them a semi 2-on-1, and Jungles makes a great play to intercept the pass. And then, they made a pinch, and we got the puck by their defenseman, which created an opportunity on the 2-on-1. And, Kirsten made a real nice shot. And so, but obviously when you're scoring and the energy's high and the excitement's high on your bench, you play a little bit lighter, even though it's the second night in the third period, and both teams are probably a little bit tired because both benches, were short players. And so it's the fun part being on our side, the hard part's being on their side and what they had to go through. But, both teams learn from it. And obviously for us, we learned a good lesson. So it's, no matter where you are in the game and no matter what the score is, if you're doing the things that you need to do to get yourself back into it, there's always hope.
Mark, how have you seen Jane grow over the last, 9-10 games that you guys have been on a roll? And then, going off of that, how difficult is it for her in a position in a game like that where you're down 4-1 and know the margin of error is so slim?
Well, I think every experience, whether it's a positive one or it's a mistake I've made or something I'd like to have back, is a chance to grow. And so some nights it's going to look really good, and other nights it's not going to look good, but that's all the process of developing as an individual player, and then collectively as a team you have to do the same things. And so my concern was I thought we were going to come out Saturday at first period and play really well. I thought we were going to have good jump and good excitement because of the hard-fought victory we had Friday, and it was just the opposite. We were playing okay, but Duluth, they didn't like losing Friday night, so they came out in that first 6 or 8 minutes, and you could tell they were on a mission. And so how do you react to that? And so every learning opportunity that's presented to you, you can grow from. And so whether it's an individual player, whether it's a goaltender, one of our defensemen, somebody that scores a big goal, somebody makes a mistake, it's like this whole process of trying to develop. And the more experience you have, whether it's a good experience or whether an experience that may not be good, those are chances that I can grow. And if they're willing to, step back and look at the big picture and understand that's part of the process of developing as a team and then developing as an individual player, then you have a chance to become pretty good.
No road trip this week. Are you a little disappointed that you're not
Nope.
getting that back at him?
Duluth is about my extent, compared to Mankato. Mankato's a little bit shorter, but the outcome of the game Saturday made the bus ride way easier for me. And I'm sure the players the same way. It's just a better atmosphere when you do something like that. It doesn't happen very often, but when you do and you're part of that, it's just fun, and that's why we play. We enjoy those moments. They don't come along too often, but if you're fortunate to have a few along the way, that's why today you practice hard, and yesterday you practice hard, because you don't know when that opportunity is gonna happen. And for us, it was a great locker room, it was a great trip home, and now we're in position, as I told the team after practice today, we have 6 out of our last 8 at home. We're in good position. But we still have to continue to do what we've been doing the last, month.
Yeah, in all seriousness, with St. Cloud State coming in, what do you expect from them and kind of how the series to be played?
It'll be similar to what we saw this weekend. They've got very good goaltending. They defend well. They block shots well. When you play them, it's generally going to be a low-scoring game. They clog up the neutral zone very well. So some of the things that we learned from this weekend and, that third period we were able to do, can we continue that process this weekend? And so they've had a good season. They're a top 10 team. And so, as I told you guys a couple weeks ago, we have no easy ones left. Nobody in our league has any easy games left. And that's good. At the end of it, in 4 weeks, we're going to have some strong teams. We're going to have an outstanding playoff run for the teams that are part of it this year. And so that's what we do. That's what we sign up for. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. We see the playoffs right around the corner, and that usually creates excitement for everybody in our league.
Back here, with the men going to Minnesota, as a former player, what does that border battle mean for the players? And can you reflect on some of your matchups with Minnesota?
Again, from a coaching standpoint, it's probably easier on the coaches in these type of weekends than maybe some other weekends where maybe you're anticipating that you're going to do well and the team's going to maybe win the games. I think the players understand the rivalry. Whether you're on the men's side or the women's side, it's why we do what we do. Whether you're a coach, whether you're a trainer, whether you're the players, these are the excitement that you can create if you go up and have a successful weekend at Minnesota, or when they come down here. Usually the crowd's a little bit more excited to watch those games because they know they're going to get entertained. And so, when I was on the men's side and, Minnesota's coming into town, it's going to be a full house. There's going to be a lot of excitement, and if you play well and you win, it's what we like to do. And that's the objective. And so on the women's side, it's no different. As I've told you before, I remember when I was a freshman going up to Williams Arena and going up the old stairs where the old locker room used to be. You used to have to walk by the crowd to get to the bench to get onto the ice. And, being the coach's son, I wasn't treated too well. But that's part of the rivalry. That's part of, the noise outside the rink. And can you handle it, and can you handle the pressure? And so, we ended up winning that night. I scored the overtime winner. And so when I came up the second night, it wasn't quite as noisy. So, yeah.
You've had to play a lot of the season shorthanded or with different lines or things like that. On one side, do you have to maybe dial back this time of the year in practice because players getting a lot of ice time during games and expending a lot? Does that make you, shorten things up a little bit in practice? And do you have hope that maybe some of this will be eased soon? You'll be getting a few players back in the lineup.
yes to your first question. I mean, I think naturally over the course of the season, the last third of it, you know, your time on the ice in practices backs off a little bit compared to where you are in the first part of the season. And then if you have low numbers, and we've been in that space for quite a while now, and so my concern, and it has been for a while, is, you know, what's the quality of our practices? Just because you don't have the personnel to run a practice like we'd like to as coaches, but yeah, you have to manage all of that. And so, yeah, we've got a bunch of lines. We shifted them around, you know, Saturday after, you know, Waz left the game. And so it's that next player's mentality. I'm going to step up and do the job, but I think it's equally as important that, you know, you have quality practices, even though you're limited, and the amount of time that you need to do that shrinks. Because, you know, we back-to-back road trips, you know, and the bus rides up there and bus ride back, that takes energy. We're back in school, so they're navigating class time. So you have to manage that, and, you know, what button do I need to push today? What's the right one? I push it. I don't know if I should have done that, but that's what, you know, that's what we have to do. And so, you know, yesterday at practice, you know, I knew they were going to be tired because we didn't get home till midnight Saturday. And so it's just, you know, what can I do to my body that I can wake up Tuesday and I'll feel better? And then again, the same thing. So we'll take tomorrow off. It's a good day to recover, get their classes organized, and then we'll get back at it Thursday. And so this part of the year, especially with a short lineup and a short bench, you really have to manage, you know, what you do in practice, and make sure that they're energized and excited and their bodies have recovered by the time you get to Saturday.